Hey there YouTube, welcome to this review of the Pac-Man Quarter Scale Mini Arcade from Numskull. Now I bought this with my own money and it was reduced to $129.99, which I agree is a lot of money. In fact, I did wonder what I was doing when I first opened it, but I'm pleased to say it's definitely been worth it. I absolutely love this thing. So what you get is quarter scale, so it's not quarter size, it's quarter scale. So for every 4 inches of the real thing, there'll be 1 inch on this. You get an exact replica of the arcade machine. Of course, it's got some extra stuff down here, which we'll come to in a moment. You've also got a little joystick, and being Pac-Man, there's no button. You just move Pac-Man around with the joystick there. And the screen itself is there. Now, if I switch it on, you'll see that the Numskull screen comes up. Then after that, and the brief title screen, it runs through the arcade's boot sequence. There it is. That's because this is actually running the real arcade ROM. So anything you can do in the original arcade game, including all the exploits, you can do here. You put in coins by pressing one of these buttons at the front, just like that. And you can play 2-player, but of course this not being Pac-Man Versus, you just take turns with the 2-player, but it does support 2 players, that's cool. Keeps track of your scores at the top. It has a volume switch at the back. It goes reasonably loud, and obviously the sound is a little bit small compared to a big arcade cabinet. There's not much bass. And if you turn it all the way down, you can't actually turn the sound off. You still hear it? Yeah. It's quieter than my ticking clock, but it's still there. You can't actually mute it. There's a battery light here because it does have a lithium-ion battery inside, and you can charge that using this micro USB socket here. It's not USB-C, it's micro USB. So like a PlayStation 3 controller, PlayStation 4 controller, sorry. And this is a rocker switch, so it just clicks on and it springs back into place. In terms of build quality, although it looks absolutely lovely and you get this little light at the top here when it's dark, this actually illuminates. That's really cool. I did notice that it was a little damaged when it arrived. You notice here on this corner, there's a bit of damage there from where it's fallen over in the factory. And also the decal stickers don't really fit perfectly on this edge. And a little bit at the top as well, just up here. You can just see the decal over the edge. So little things like that detract a little bit from its overall aesthetic, but no, basically it's lovely, and it looks really cool while it's on your desk. The lithium-ion battery does last quite a long time. At one point I forgot I'd unplugged it from my Mac, because I leave it usually connected to my iMac so that it's always powered through one of the USB sockets on the back of that. But I noticed that the sound was going a bit funny. It would suddenly cut out a little bit. I wasn't sure why that was, and I was starting to think there was something wrong with it. And then the screen went black after about another hour, and I realised that it was because the battery was running out. The little stick here, I've got used to it, and you can get used to it, but I noticed when people try it for the first time, they do find it difficult to actually control Pac-Man. You do have to get used to it because although it's small and it's micro-switched, you hear it, that's great. It is fiddly, it is too small really, and you find yourself having to hold the unit with one hand while you activate the joystick with the other hand. But the screen refresh is excellent. There's no ghosting, no pun intended, because there's obviously ghosts in the game. The gameplay itself is timeless. It's really, really great. I didn't realise from the times I played it before that actually it's not about clearing the mazes, it's actually about getting the combos on the ghosts. Because if you get the power pellet and you can rack up all 4 ghosts with each pellet, then you get much more score, and that's how you get it. You don't actually get any reward for finishing a level, except that extra last 10 points in getting the last pill, of course. So there's actual depth there. It plays really well. I've put so many hours into it. My top score's, I think, around 80,000 now, and it takes about 10-15 minutes to get to there. But usually it's just a minute or 2 to play, so it's a lovely little distraction. But it really is a distraction. If you get one of these and put it on your desk, you're going to find that you play with this rather than do any work, I'm afraid. So for the money, it is a lot of money, but it does feel like a relatively deluxe piece of equipment. So say the light up here looks really good, the screen's really good, the joystick's micro switched, and it's got a lithium ion battery so that you can save your scores as well if you don't want to turn it off, because if you do turn it off, then the scores do go. It doesn't save them unless you leave it on all the time. So might be something to keep in mind. If you don't like leaving stuff on all the time, you will lose your scores. I do hope that Numskull makes some more, because obviously we've had the micro arcades, which I've done a review of Galaga. So having a Galaga or Galaxian version of this would be awesome. I would totally buy one of those. And the thumbnails on the website do suggest that we will get more in this range. I suppose they're seeing how well this one did, but presumably it sold very well because you can't buy them anymore, at least not in the UK where I've been looking, because I did ask them about this damage and went back to the shop, but the shop couldn't get any more in because they'd sold them all. So I'm happy to keep it like this. I mean, it's obviously arcades did get bashed up back in the day anyway. I suppose really, by rights, I should add a cigarette burn or something to it, but no. So yeah, this gets a 4-star rating from me. I think the build quality could be slightly better, and I think the joystick could also be slightly better. But aside from that, considering how much money I spent, I absolutely love this thing. So yeah, buy it with confidence. Cheers. Thanks so much for watching. Check out my review of the little Galaga machine as well if you're interested. I've also got gaming content on my channel as well as music and more. So take a look around and I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Cheers.